Hi and welcome to this video. I'm Debbie Clement-Large. I'm an international creative life coach and a licensed Heal Your Life teacher. And I'm really excited today to talk about, are our thoughts a reality? Now that's a really interesting question, isn't it? Are our thoughts real? So let's just think of a situation. So let's imagine that we've just been told that we're going to lose our job. Now our automatic thought could be, this is a personal thing. My boss doesn't like me, therefore that's why he's getting rid of me. And then we can think, that means I'm not going to have, I'll get very little redundancy money from this. That means I will have, it's going to be really difficult finding another job. And our thoughts then can move to, I'm not going to be able to pay my house, my rent or my mortgage, which means that I could lose my house. Maybe I've got car payments, I'm going to struggle paying those as well. And I'm going to lose everything. I might have to sell stuff. I might have to move house. And in just 20-30 seconds, our thinking has just gone from an event of being told that we're going to lose our job to suddenly we're not just going to lose our job, we're going to lose everything. Pretty much, material wise. We're going to lose our home, our car, our material possessions. Everything is just going to be awful. So is that thinking right? Is it the reality? Well, the only bit we know that's the reality is that we've been told that we're going to be made redundant, we're going to lose our job. And that is an event in itself. But our thinking about that, now is that real? So if we sit and we inquire about it, we can say, okay, is it really personal that I'm losing my job? Now the potential is that it could be. Maybe your boss really doesn't like you and he's just finding an excuse to get rid of you. That is a possibility. But there's also a big possibility that the organisation could be restructuring. Maybe it's got financial problems. Maybe it's needing to change the shape of the way it's working to meet customer needs. Maybe customer expectations are wanting a quicker, faster service, different types of products, and therefore the business is having to respond. And in doing so, it means it either doesn't need your services anymore or it can't afford you anymore. But that's nothing personal. And then if we take our thinking on a bit further, so we've already thought we're not going to be able to afford our house anymore and therefore we're going to lose it. So is that strictly true? Not necessarily. There's all sorts of things that could happen in there. There are all sorts of ways we can get support to be able to help us to maintain to live in our house even if we've got no income coming in. There are people around that might help us. We could get a lodger in. We can think creatively. Maybe I could move in with a relative and rent my house out for a while so that I'm actually getting enough rent in to be able to pay for the mortgage. There are different ways of being able to creatively look at that situation. Okay, so we've said that that's not necessarily the reality, that we're going to lose the house. So we're going to lose the car. That was the next thing. Car payments. Well, if I'm struggling to pay car payments, I can go and speak to them and say that I'm losing my job and see whether I can change the repayment structure, something like that. So is that really true then, that I'm going to lose my car? Not necessarily. Am I going to lose everything else? Is everything else going to be taken away from me? Well, the likelihood is probably not. So our thinking has led us down this path of our unwanted thoughts and creating this really fearful, suffering situation where we might believe that all these negative and awful things are going to happen. But the interesting thing with that thought is that we spiraled it downwards. And that's what happens very often with thoughts that we get, that have are negative to start with. We spiral them downwards. It automatically seems to flow in a downward direction. But what about flowing them upwards? Because we can. So we could take that initial thought of, I'm losing my job. oh, that's going to be awful kind of thought. And then we can stop for a second and we can breathe and we can take stock of how we feel. And instead of letting our mind run away with us, we just breathe for a second and take our awareness on that breath. And then when we feel that we're not going to knee-jerk, that we're not going to automatically respond to that thought, we can then inquire into that thought and we can say, okay, so I'm losing my job, but I am going to get some redundancy money. Okay, how much time does that buy me? Well, that buys me so many months. Okay, that's not so bad. I'm a really creative person. I know that I have lots of love and support around me. I know that I could easily rent a room out. I know that I could even rent my whole house out. Wow, that might even give me the chance to go travelling. Because if I'm getting money coming in from renting my house out, that will be more than my mortgage is or my rent is. And therefore, I could just go and spend some time with family, or I could just go somewhere else. And who knows, I might get a job really easily. I've never looked at that point before. I wasn't always happy with that job. That boss was a bit difficult to deal with. So now I have this opportunity that they are paying me to have some time out from work, and I can really concentrate on the skills that I have. I can concentrate on looking for really great jobs, things that offer me the things that are fulfilling for me. And I can end up earning more money. I could afford an even better place to live in. And a better car. Wow, this is a wonderful opportunity. I was feeling really stuck before and I hadn't made that move. And now the universe is giving me the kick up the bottom to say, actually, you've got to do something about this now. So now opportunities and new ways of thinking are coming into view for me. This is quite an exciting time. I've been really wanting change, but I've been fearing it a bit and I've been putting it off. But now I can see that's just what I need in my life, and I know everything's going to work out okay. So when we look at that sort of thought, what a difference. What a difference you will feel from consciously spiraling your thoughts upwards and getting yourself to a better feeling place than it is letting your thoughts automatically spiral downwards. But it takes a little bit of conscious effort. You have to stop and be aware of your thinking before it drags you down. And even when it has dragged you down, you can still pick yourself up. It just takes a little bit more effort. And our energy is so much lighter when we're feeling positive, when we're looking for new ways of doing things, than it is when we're allowing ourselves to be dragged down and feeling that everything is against us, that nothing is ever going to work. So our thoughts aren't the reality. Not if they're negative. We always have the opportunity to changing our perspective on the way we see a situation. So when we go back to that initial example, losing your job, it's not a good thing and it's not a bad thing. It just is. It's just the event of losing a job. How we feel about it, whether that's positive or negative, creates either our joy or our suffering. So we always have an opportunity to decide how we want to feel about a situation. So think about some of the times when some of the difficulties or challenges maybe you're experiencing at the moment, or whether you have in the past, and inquire as to whether your thinking made that experience better, or whether your thinking made that experience harder, more difficult, and whether you suffered more because of your thinking, and whether or not if you'd thought about things in a different way, then maybe that experience might have been different for you, even though the event is the same. But never forget, you can always change the way you feel about something when you consciously change the way you think about it.